All right. Mic check. Can you guys hear me? All right, let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first official live stream. I'm going to turn the music down a little bit and just say hello to everybody. Let's go back. Let's start with Black Cobra. Welcome. Kaimi Manor. Ooh. That's my wife. Hello. Farrells Barkley. Nice to see you. Liam from Millennial Model Mayhem is here. It's good to see you guys. How's everybody's day going so far? So, while you guys take the time to answer that, I have some of the prizes over here that we can take a quick peek at. I'll kind of talk about them individually, but as I start this stream and as people come and join here, I'll go ahead and go over the rules really for the giveaway, which is really just if you've donated, you're entered to win. So if anything happens during the stream, or if you've missed it, or maybe if you didn't get a chance to watch it live and you want to come back later, I'll be having the giveaway live so you guys can watch it. And also I'll still have the winner selected even if you're not here for that. So as long as you've donated, you'll be entered for the giveaways for both the snack packs as well as the prizes and the kits that are donated, which are down here in the corner. I can go grab them as we offer them, as we do the giveaway here. But real quickly, let's go over the list of giveaway prizes. So I had to write everything down because I wanted to make sure I remembered it. But I'm going to go ahead and start with the Gundam prize giveaway. So first we have a Pale Rider, which was donated by a anonymous community member. We have the God Gundam, the HG aerial rebuild, as well as the full mechanics aerial donated by Otaku Builder. So big thank you to him for supporting the channel. Next, we have a shirt from none other than Saintism. If you haven't seen my video as far as pre-shading and coloring your model kits, you can go check out that video on the channel. Also, go ahead and give him a follow on Instagram. He does some amazing work. A lot of his work is kind of taking the original color scheme and dialing it up to 11, which I really love. But he does some custom works for some of his kits as well. So be sure to give him a follow. On top of that, we also have a Midwest Hobby and Craft gift card, along with 3 Gundam Place gift cards. And finally, the big grand prize, since we did reach our goal for $1,000, we will also be giving an entire airbrush setup. So that includes an airbrush, the braided hose, like you guys see on some of my videos. See if I can grab it right now, actually. So I'm gonna step away from the mic for a minute, but what the braided hose is, it protects your air hose as you're painting. It also doesn't wrap on itself or get tangled up, so it's really comfortable. Looks kind of like this. Mine is a kind of a rainbowish color, but I'll be sending one out in black, and as well as an Iwata airbrush. Now I'm still looking into doing the Neo, but if that's not available, then it will be next the Eclipse, which is what I am currently using back there. On top of that, we'll also be doing, if you're new to airbrushing and you want to sit down with me and we can go through getting you set up for airbrushing, I will be doing three sessions of 1 hour where we'll sit down, we'll talk about getting you set up for your airbrush, talk about what paints you kind of want to do, and then we'll work together on a shadow build where we'll buy the same model kits, or if you have one and I have one, we can just use ones that we have. We'll build it together, we'll paint it up together, we'll go through the process, and if we have any issues that come up, we can address it right then and there. So by the time we finish with that kit, you'll be ready to paint your own kits and go along your airbrushing journey. So I'm really excited for that, and I hope you guys are too. So that is the prizes for the Gundam giveaway. Now let's go ahead and go over our snack pack giveaway. So snack pack giveaway is going to be broken up into 3 separate giveaway prizes. First one is going to be prize number 1, which is going to be the grand prize, and we'll go over the snacks that come with it. First one is going to be this coconut pancake mix. Get that to focus. right there. It's not going to focus, not going to focus. Right about there. So Kanaina pancakes, coconut flavor. Next, you are going to get 2 bags of Lion coffee here. This is one that my family always likes to send out. Very popular. Excuse me, I'm still kind of getting over a sickness from about 2 weeks ago. So if I have to clear my throat or if I cough, I apologize. After the Lion coffee mix, we also have Hawaiian haupia mix. If you're not familiar with haupia, basically it is, the best way I can describe it is they take coconuts and they melt it down. It's like a jello. It's really delicious. It's one of my favorite treats. Always really good to have when you're eating Hawaiian food, such as like kloping, cabbage and rice, poke. So if you're ever in the islands and you want to get some haupia, absolutely recommend it. Next, after that, we have Hawaiian Cookie Company. A big old bag of these chocolate chip shortbread cookies. These are my absolute favorite. These are absolutely delicious. I love them so much. They're absolutely, like, I can sit here and eat them as I'm building if I wanted to. And it's been really hard not to just break open a bag myself and eat them and then just go buy another one. So saved it. I constrained myself, saved it here for you guys so you guys can enjoy it. Next, we have 3 different Hawaiian Sun pancake mixes. So on top of the coconut one, you will be getting a banana macadamia nut, chocolate macadamia nut, and my personal favorite, the strawberry guava pancake mix. So a lot of different flavors you guys have here. This is all, again, this is all prize number 1, grand prize here. On top of the pancake mix, we will also have 2 boxes of the Hawaiian Hosts chocolates here. Some of my favorites. I like to eat these. If they're ever given to me, I'm never going to turn them away. I'll always eat them. They make me very happy, and I'm happy I can share this with you. And finally, last but not least, a pack of the toasted milk chocolate toffees. So that is everything for prize number 1. Prize number 2 is going to be a little bit less. It's going to be the same pancake mix here. You're going to get 1 Kona coffee. Sorry, 1 Lion coffee. We're going to get 1 more haupia mix. We talked about the same 3 Hawaiian Suns. You're going to get only 1 Hawaiian Host and then 1 toffee as well. And then finally, for 3rd place, you're going to get the 3 pancake mixes again, 1 box of the Hawaiian Host, and a pack of the toffees. So those are going to be our 3 prize packs for the snap pack giveaway. So lots of chances for you to win many different prizes. Big thank you to everybody who's donated for the Gundam prizes. These came out of my pocket myself, and I'm really happy to give these away to you guys. It's something that I felt like would be a great way to give back to the community as a thank you for helping raise money for the Maui wildfire fundraiser that I did. And so I'm just giving you guys a little taste of some of the things that I like. Aside from the coffee, I have tried all of these myself. They're absolutely delicious. Highly recommend them. And then I think let's go ahead and talk about how I'm going to be doing the giveaways. So some of you may know that I've done giveaways in the past where I would announce the giveaway. I would select the winners ahead of time and contact them, and then go ahead and make the announcement later, which I haven't done for the my 5K 6K giveaway. So the winners for that were Athena Ursenbach, who won the MGSD, the clean box, the fixed box, not the damage box. Then we have Jordan Silva, who won the Master Grade Zeta Verka. And then we have Zionic Studio, who had won the damaged box that I gave away on Instagram. So that way we have everybody that has donated and everyone who has entered in that giveaway. Now you guys know who the winners are for that. And so the reason I do it that way is because I don't have the same way that I do for my fundraiser here to keep track of who's donated and how they can get in contact with me. But how I'm going to do it for this one is that because PayPal has given me the email address associated with the PayPal account, I can go ahead and do the giveaway this way. And if your name is selected, all you have to do is email me back using the account email that is linked to the PayPal that you made the donation with. For example, if I made a donation under my personal PayPal account, I will use my personal email. If you donated through your personal account with your personal email, just go ahead, check the receipt. It should say what email is associated with it, or PayPal will send you an email letting you know that you've made the donation. And then that way you can know where all of the, that way you can know if that was your email to contact me with, and you can just get in contact with me that way so I can get these prizes sent out to you. On top of that, if you have been selected for the airbrush prize giveaway, I'll get your address from you at that time, where I'll be sending it directly to you from Spray Gunner. So then that way there's no chance of any of the things getting damaged in transit before, instead of having it come to me and then go directly out to you. That's the only going to be the little bit of a nuance there, because I need to give out your information so I can have the product shipped directly to you. Mr. Gunpla asks, is the fundraiser still going? No, unfortunately, the fundraiser had closed on this past Friday. So big thank you to everyone who has donated. And if you haven't donated, don't worry. If you still would like to support the Maui wildfire fundraiser, or you want to help people who have been affected in Maui, you can go ahead and go to the Hawaii Community Foundation, the Maui Strong campaign, which is where I'm going to be donating the funds from this giveaway to as well. So we have our prizes, we have the rules and everything about the fundraiser, and now let's go ahead and let's give away one of the prizes. So I'm going to start with one of the Gundam prize giveaways here. So I'm going to change screens over here to this. So this is our name picker here. I have everybody's name entered here. So again, the way it works, $1 is one entry, so everyone who's donated to have their name entered that many times based on the number of their donations. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a quick shuffle. And the first one we are going to give away is going to be one of the Gundam Store's $50 gift cards. So let's go ahead and give it a spin. Music's too loud. Sorry guys, thank you so much. Thank you for letting me know. I apologize for that. I don't know what's going on with that there, but go ahead and just pause it. All right, so going back a little bit, I'm not too sure how long that was going on for, but I will say that again, whoever's the winner, go ahead and send me the email with links to the PayPal account, and then that way I can be sure to verify that it is you that's won the prize and that was you that actually donated. So sorry guys, thanks for letting me know. There is a little bit of a delay on the stream that I'm still getting used to, but we can go ahead and move on from there. So first giveaway went to Andrew K. We'll continue to go along with some of the giveaways here, so beat you to it. Again, thank you everybody for letting me know. Still getting used to it, still fixing some things here and there, and just part of the growing process. This is my first official launch, and as you guys know, nothing's ever really going to be perfect the first time around. I always say this with our model kits, and so just this stream is just a great example of that, where hey, not everything's going to go perfectly, but we learn, we move forward, and we get better with each try. So first giveaway went to Andrew K. I'm going to switch it back over to me here. Yeah, I'm getting used to that. I'm getting the keys down. I'm learning how to stream here. But before we move on to our actual live podcast, how's everybody doing today? How's everybody's weekend going? Let me know in the comments below, and we'll go through each of the I'm to grab some of the boxes for the prizes you guys can take a quick look at. But as you guys let me know, I'll bring up the kits here again. So one of the kits here, first one I have here is the Real Grade God Gundam. I actually haven't built this one yet. This one is really interesting because it's one of the newest ones. I've built some of the other real grade kits before, and I really like the new ones that are coming out. They're really good quality. Best way we can really explain, these are like mini master grades. I'm really happy with them. So whoever wins this, I'm excited for you. And if you do win some of these kits, be sure to tag me in them when you finish painting them, building them, whatever you do with them, whatever you decide to do with them. Tag me in it so I can see what kind of creations you guys come up with. Always happy to see new builders, always happy to see new and creative ideas, because just as much as I can inspire you guys, I'm really interested to see what you guys come up with, because you guys can inspire me as well. So first one is the RG God Gundam. Let's go ahead, pull up the next one, which is going to be the high grade Gundam aerial rebuild. So if you haven't seen the show, this is the one that is at the end of the first half of the season is when this one was introduced, and it was kind of present towards the later half of the season, but this is the one it was first introduced, was at the end of the first half of the season. Great kit. I built the original aerial Gundam that came out, really good build, so I expect this to be just as good if not better. Next up, again, we have the Pale Black Rider. So if you're not familiar with Gundam model kits, if you see a box like this means it comes from Premium Bandai. Bandai releases sometimes special design kits, whether it be different colors, whether it be different designs, where they add a little bit of things here and there. So one of the things, for example, is the real grade new Gundam. They also have the one with the long range fin funnel version, which is a model based after the statue that they have, and I believe it's Fukuoka is their newest location. So when that is the when it's a P Bandai, sometimes it'll be changes like that, sometimes it'll be colors, but if you see this box, then you know generally it's a limited run. And so big thank you again to the person who donated this, because it's a limited run kit. And finally, we have the Full Mechanics Aerial. So again, this one was also donated by Otaku Builder. I actually just finished putting this kit together. I am working on it for a video of mine, and so I have the main body together, and I'm working on the customizations I'm going to be adding to it. I really like the new design of the Full Mechanics. It is just, it's a fun build. I think it is a great way to kind of bridge the gap of wanting a larger model kit without being as complex as a master grade. So I think it'll be fun for whoever picks it up. And I think if we get a master grade of the Aerial, you'd know I'm going to be building it. So Kaimi's staring at my snacks. Well, please don't eat the ones that are in the kitchen. Those are for our winners. I have a set. This is a set here that I have, which is just some of the things that I have, because I have all the duplicates just not here. It'll also just be filling up the entire desk. So I just have some of the things here. Don't eat them, please. So those are our Gundam kit prize giveaway. So let's go on to the podcast episode. So random question: is it true P Bandais are meant not to be mass produced, hence it's special? So from my understanding of P Bandai, it's basically they want to produce some special kits from time to time that kind of fit a more niche market of people who are really into different designs of model kits that aren't as mainstream as a lot of different kits. For example, they have the Jegan model kit, which is sort of a greenish color one, but they also have different variants of it where they add different things on top of it to make it different. For example, the Stark Jegan, which has missile pods on its shoulders. And so instead of creating an entire new mold for the kit, they do limited runs for these kits because they want it to be where they can give somebody a kit that they want and they don't have to pay extra for either. Maybe they're not ready to customize it, or maybe they're not quite there at the point where maybe they can 3D print some things like extra parts and pieces and whatnot. And so it's not as something that they can, it's not something that they think would sell as well, even though I highly think that P Bandai really should just make everything open to buy and everything like that. For example, a lot of the wing kits, the endless waltz kits are considered P Bandai. For example, there is the Ultron Gundam, which is a Premium Bandai kit. There is the Heavy Arms Gundam, which is also another P Bandai kit. Oh, hey, Balancer, this is Artie. Sponsor kit on your next giveaway. I also have a question. When are you gonna host a builds meet? Keep up the good work and builds and channel. Aloha. Thank you so much, dude. I have not done a local build meet yet. I'm trying to figure out a good place to host one, not only so that I can have the space for it, but also I can find a lot of people that maybe are looking to want to learn how to build. A lot of the videos on my channel are teaching people how to build these things, and as cool as a build meet is, I would like to try to get more of the newer builders out there. So part of it is looking to find newer builders and maybe working with some of the stores here. I know there's some places that have the space to do the builds, but reaching out to them and setting those things up takes some time. as much as I'd love to this to be my only job, I do have another job that I do that I work at. So kind of balancing my time between my job, YouTube, and then running a build meet takes up a little bit of time. And so it's something that I have planned. It's something I haven't done yet, but looking forward to do it in the future. So appreciate it, Artie. Thank you so much for donating to me. Now, going back to what I was talking about when I was getting ready to do the podcast. So kind of going back to Cobra's question first. P Bandai, I would hope more of them would be mass produced, because I feel like everybody is wanting those P Bandai Endless Waltz kits, like the Ultron Gundam, some of these Sandrock Armadillo units, which I think are really cool. If they just mass produce them, I guarantee you people will buy them nonstop. But yeah, so Premium Bandai, limited releases, not all the time. Some of them come back, such as the wing kits, but I think personally, Bandai, release them all. Just let the floodgates open and let everybody buy what they want. Okay, so now that we got that out about Premium Bandai, we talked about that, I want to get into today's podcast episode. And so if you guys have questions as we go through the podcast, feel free to let me know. I'm going to go ahead and switch the screen up real quickly. Here, so this was a comment that was left on one of my videos, and I felt like it would be a really good one to kind of address and talk about, because a lot of times I hear family members, when it comes to hobbies that some of the people have, a lot of times this comes out with video games, you know, this comes out with any sort of like anime, things that are maybe not as common in older generations, but something that's really common in, you know, millennials and younger, where we see sometimes that we have these hobbies that the older generation doesn't quite understand. And so I'll go ahead and read the comment, which is, what do you tell someone who says this hobby is a waste of money, time, etc.? I also get a new one ripped when I buy more, and I always told you will end up like the worst hoarder on hoarders. Along with that, you are smart, but you are collecting useless things. Imagine being in your room and being told every day when you wake up you have nowhere left to sleep and your room is filled with garbage, etc. Not cool, because I always repurpose anything that consumes space. So this was a comment that was left by one of my viewers, and I felt like it would be a really good topic to kind of talk about, because there are times where maybe we have something that we really enjoy and the people in our lives aren't as understanding, and they're not at a point where they're willing to accept it. And when you look at the comment and the way that this person is explaining it, his hobby is a waste of money, time, etc. And so before we can even begin to talk to the person about our hobby and try to have them understand it, is first, let's find out, are they even open to hearing about it? Are they even willing to listen to what we're trying to say about this hobby? Because it sounds like when you see it here, this hobby is a waste of money, time, etc. This person has already kind of really made up their mind about what you're doing, what you like, what you internalize. And so when you see comments like this, or when you hear things like this, do you really feel like they're going to be listening to you as you try to explain yourself to them? Most times, unfortunately, it's a no. And that's not because they're just shutting it down. They aren't realizing that the way that they're posing the question is really just kind of one that's going to set up our defenses. It's just like, why do you like this? And just the way that they say it can really just kind of put you on the defensive heel. And that's one of the things we kind of learned early on in counseling, is just knowing the correct way to answer the question to convey the actual feeling that you have. And looking into the words that people use are important, because we can see how their feelings are when they talk to us. So when we see this hobby is a waste of money and time, we can see that they already have this preconceived notion that this isn't worth it. This is not of value to the person asking the question. Like if this is somebody's mother or their father, they're saying this is a waste of time. They're putting their own assessment on something that you enjoy. And they already have this preconceived notion of what you're talking about as being less than optimal, less than ideal, less than valuable, right? And so when you come across statements like this and people talking about things that you enjoy in this manner, there's really no rationalizing with it, because there's no way that they're going to be open to a response, especially when they have already ascribed these sorts of names, these sorts of titles, these sorts of labels to the hobby that we have. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money, you know? So in that sense, it's maybe not the correct time to talk to them about these things. So if they're in this sort of state and they're asking it in this way, the best thing to do is really not to answer the question, because you're not going to be doing yourself any favors. And all it's going to do is beget a negative conversation, because it's already starting off in a negative space. You don't want to engage in that. So it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't feel like you're ready to listen to me. Or maybe it's not even to talk about that at all. It's just waiting until the language changes, or maybe talking to them about, hey, I don't really like the way you worded that question, because what you're telling me is that something that I enjoy is not good. Something that I enjoy is valueless to you. And so how would you react if someone were to say something that you enjoyed was a waste of time? Something that you enjoyed was a waste of money? And so would you want to talk to somebody that says those things to you? Would you want to engage with somebody that says those things to you? Whether it's family, friends, whether it's community members, teachers at school, whatever it may be, if they're already giving these negative labels and it sounds like they've already made their minds up on these things, it's probably not the right time to engage in it. But let's say the tune changes. Let's say maybe the way they approach it changes a little bit. It's like maybe they get a little bit frustrated and they're just like, hey, help me understand, like, what about this do you like? And so it changes the mentality of, why do you like this, putting you on the defensive, into it changes the words that they're saying. It makes it feel more like, hey, I'm kind of curious as far as what you're enjoying. What about this makes you happy? And so when we can hear the change in tone, we can hear the change in the words used, we can understand that maybe they're in a better place to listen. Maybe they're more open to the question, or maybe they're more open to the answer. For example, if I were to say, why do you like that? That's different from, is like, oh, can you tell me more about this hobby that you enjoy? You can tell it's asking kind of the same thing. It's like, why do you like that? What about this thing is enjoyable? And so if you change the way you ask the question, it changes the way that people respond to things, which is why, I'm always trying to be very cautious of a lot of the words I say, especially in my videos, because I want to make sure I'm conveying my thoughts. My wife, she probably can attest to this, is that sometimes I want to say certain things, but the words that I say come across differently, or they come across kind of wrong. And it's like, no, that's not what I meant. That wasn't the emotion I was trying to convey, but the words that came out just sounded a little wrong, and that happens. That's just normal. And so I always try my best to not really coach my words, but I try my best to express my feelings and my thoughts more accurately than just saying what I feel like saying. Because again, if we don't think about the words that we're saying, our subconscious sort of implications on a lot of these things start to seep in. And so even though you may have a negative view, that you want to be open to it, you may accidentally kind of close them off to it just based on the words that you say, because you're not as cognizant of the things that you say. So be mindful of the way you ask questions, be mindful of the way how you talk to people. And then when you sense that these people are open to these things, let's talk about how we can explain our hobby to somebody who's more open to them. So let's talk about, let's figure out what sort of things that they're looking for that they find important. For example, like, what do you get out of it? So the idea behind that question is, what is the reward of doing this sort of thing? For example, it could be like, the reward is I get to build this amazing kit that I can put on my shelf. I can go through this process of taking these pieces apart, knowing how to orient them, put them together in a sequence in order to make this cool kit. At the beginning, it's a pile of runners. At the end, it's a model kit, from box, to full build. It's a process. And as we go through certain things, we can explain to them, maybe if they're very results oriented, you can let them know, like, what I get out of this is that it's beneficial to me. I get to build this model kit. The reward that I get is I get to see a product that I can put on my shelf. Maybe I can even play with it, even if you like playing with your model kits. That's fine. It's something that's reward driven. Or maybe they're talking about how, hey, why does this model kit thing make you happy? And now they're talking about the emotional feelings. And so to convey how they can ascribe value is, you could listen to the words that they're saying. Oh, they want to know, what does this do for me emotionally? And you can connect to the person asking the question by letting them know how it makes you feel. So example, when I'm sitting there building my model kits, I'm not focused on anything else that's going on around me. I'm only focused on what's in front of me. And that time that I spend focusing on that has been a really big stress reliever. So by the time I'm finished building for 15, 20, 30 minutes, half an hour, however long you get to build, I feel happy. I feel relaxed. It makes me feel good. And so we can kind of tailor our responses to kind of sort of what sort of question that the person is asking and what sort of language that they're using. So we talked about maybe results driven. We talked about feeling. Maybe some people are analytical and they like sciencey answers. It's like, what sort of scientific benefit does this thing provide? And you can talk about, I've just said in my some of my other podcast episodes before, where I talk about the scientific benefits of clearing cortisol out of the brain. We talk about the scientific benefits of really reducing our stress levels for the zone of optimal performance to be reached again in the Yerkes-Dodson model. So as we start to talk about and we learn how we can use our model kits, as we start to talk about how these things are beneficial to us, we can be scientific about it. And so it's meeting the person and explaining to them in a way that they can understand how it benefits us, because we know how it benefits us and we know to us why we like it. But conveying it to somebody else can be a little bit different, because again, their values are going to be different, which is why this disconnect is happening. They don't understand why the model kits are beneficial to us. That's why they're asking. Now, if they're asking in a way that's, as we can see here, not very positive, it's not very open, maybe not the best time to engage. But if we can sense the language change and maybe it sounds or it makes us feel like they're being more understanding, right? Maybe we'll be more open to answering those sorts of questions. And so if you know anybody that has ever asked you, like, why do you like these sorts of things? Let me know in the comments below and let me know how you responded to it, because sometimes maybe you came up with a great idea as far as how you responded to it. And we can talk about how that answer maybe fits into the results driven, maybe it fits into the emotionally driven, maybe it fits into, the data driven sort of aspects of it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. But the other half of this that we're talking about is the idea of hoarding. When you stop collecting useless things and every time you wake up, you have nowhere left to sleep in your room filled with garbage. So the other aspect of it is this person sees this hobby as sort of taking up a lot of space and making it sort of almost unsafe at a point. And I talked about this as far as collecting Gunpla and model kits is, what point is too much? And I have talked about, the idea of this being an addiction and how, it may not be that the model kits is the addiction, but we fall into these bad spending habits or we lack the impulse control in order to stop us from buying. And so the other half of this question is, are we looking into this model kit? Are we looking into this hobby maybe with rose tinted glasses where, hey, they're kind of on us because it's something that we like, but realistically, maybe they're talking about, are you, being realistic as far as your spending going, and if it's filling up your room and you have nowhere to sleep, is it a legitimate concern that they have, or are they being dramatic about it? And so, if you're living in a house with your family and you have a bedroom, are your model kits stacked up in a way where if a new person comes into that room and they have to walk a certain way to get around, maybe it's not exactly a safe thing. And that can be a cause for concern when it comes to collecting our model kits. But if we have a small stack that we're growing here that's off in the corner that like you have to get up and walk to in order to get, and they're just like, oh, it's just taking up so much space, be realistic about a lot of these things. Again, when I talked about it not being an addiction, we also have to realize that we need to monitor our own spending. And so if we're being realistic and we say that, no, like I have maybe 5 kits that are in a closet that are closed away that I pull out, I sit down to work on, right? That's different from, like I'm laying on my bed and I can reach my hand out and touch 5 kits. That's a big difference, right? So be realistic about that. And if you can see that the way that they're presenting it is unrealistic, then we can also see even more so that, hey, they're not open to this idea. They just want to shut it down. And so we don't have to engage with that. We can just be like, they don't understand and they're not willing to understand. And we can just leave that at that. But if it's a legitimate concern where, you know, when you get up from your bed, are you knocking over model kits because there's not enough room to turn around, or you have to walk a specific way, step in specific spots to not step on boxes as you're moving through, that can be a bit of a concern. So know the difference between a realistic expectation or a realistic question versus an unrealistic one. And you got to be honest with yourself. And sometimes it's the hardest thing to do. It's like, no, it's not a problem. But, you know, when you are, you know, sleeping with a box in your bed because you have no space anywhere else in your room to put it, it might be time to look at your collection and say, hey, what can I prune back? Now, again, if you have another room that you're completely separate with, and, you know, this is somebody that's coming into your space and telling you these sorts of things, right? It's hard to not be defensive about these things. So take the moment to sit down and take a deep breath and think through it. Like, is this a sort of rational thing? Is this sort of a rational feeling? Or is this something that is a more emotional reaction on their part as far as how they're asking, especially when we see that the initial part of it is this thing is a waste of time, it's a waste of money, and that now you buy so much that there's just no space left in your room. You know, it can be very hard to know what the difference is between a realistic question versus a personal attack. So Jeremy Hill said he has a 15 kit rule, no more than 15, which pushes me to build more so I can restock. And that's a good rule. If that is something that you can realistically hold yourself to, that is great. Make sure that, you know, you have a set number that you can follow, and it's a reasonable number. 15 kits may sound like a lot to some people, but for him, that's perfectly acceptable. You know, 15 kits for me, I definitely have 15 kits. There's a shelf right over here. My doggies. I have 15 kits, probably have 15 kits on the shelf right over here, and that's fine because I have the space for it, I have the money for it, and that's okay. And so the only person that can really tell you what is a safe amount is you. And if you are unable to make that assumption, or if you're unable to make that distinction on your own, that's when I would highly recommend saying, hey, maybe talk to somebody about that sort of thing and say, hey, is the thought pattern in this sort of thing rational? Is this irrational? So kind of getting back to this person here, you know, I would say based on how they're kind of saying it, it feels like there's a lot of emotion from the poster as well. And that's how the person asking the question is making them feel it's a personal attack on them. And so, you know, they can feel like it's very undirected at them, but in hindsight, because it's such a personal attack, it can also be a sort of reaction to kind of how they're making them feel. Because sometimes even an honest question, or I would say the word would be an innocent question, can sometimes be taken negatively, and that comes down to the way that they're wording it. It's like, for example, you know, I can ask like, oh, why do you like that, right? And that can be taken in a very positive way. It's like, oh, why do you like that? You know, why do you like for me, it's like, why do you like azuki means? Oh, it's sweet, it's savory, it's something that tastes really good. It goes well with a lot of the sweet other things that I eat, like ice cream and things like that. Versus like, why do you like that? It's the same words, different way that it's being said, right? Can convey very different feelings. And sometimes we may think we hear it. We may think we hear, why do you like that? Versus, hey, why do you like that? And so sometimes we get a little defensive, we react, and that's just normal. Our bodies are reacting. As much as we like to think that we're higher rational beings with higher rational thought, we still have a lot of emotions, and that's the part that makes us human. That's the part that, you know, keeps us grounded and connected to each other. We have feelings, we have emotions, and the hard part is the newest part of our brain is our thinking. So it's not as strong, it's not as rooted as our emotions, it's not as strongly rooted as our feelings, because our feelings are a survival tactic. It was our older survival tactic before our new brains became our survival tactic, right? We learn how to escape before we learn how to prevent ourselves from putting ourselves in danger to need to escape. So these are things that have developed in our brains to help us survive. And so sometimes it could be a misunderstanding, but from what it sounds like is, if this is true, and we're going to take it with a grain of, we're going to take it as if this was the true statement, like it really did come off this way, I would say, I'm sorry that this person is making you feel this way and is judging your hobby in such a harsh light. I would say, I would wait until the feelings or maybe the emotions have kind of come down a little bit and we're all thinking rationally before we begin to either explain why we like this hobby, or we can begin to even decide if this person is willing to listen. Because even though we may be feeling very rational and calm, the other person may still be in their feelings, meaning their guard is up and they're not listening, they're reacting. So take a lot of those things with a grain of salt, and just remember that, you know, the only person that needs to really know about this hobby is you. I know that as we're living with our family members, we have to be cognizant of them as well. We have to be respectful as far as if we're living in somebody else's house, we have to respect the rules. We have to respect the person that's, you know, taking care of us, but also be realistic about it. If they're giving you advice or they're saying something to you that you feel like is a personal attack, trust your gut, is probably right. But think about honestly, and if you're not sure, talk to somebody about it and get the feedback from somebody else. I'm only looking at a snapshot here, so my understanding of it is very limited, versus go to see a professional, talk to them about it, talk to them about the relationship of the person that's asking this question, get to know, let the person that you're talking to get to know not only you, but the people in your life, and so they can give you a better understanding. Which is why every time I talk to people, or anytime someone comes to me, they have questions, I say, go see a professional. Always go see a professional. If you're unsure, go talk to somebody. Worst they can do is say you're overreacting, or hey, your mind's going a million miles an hour and you have a lot of feelings. Take a deep breath, calm down, think about it rationally. Because seeking a therapist shouldn't be any different from going to see a dentist, going to see a doctor. You know, when you break an arm, you go to see the doctor. When your tooth hurts, you go to see a dentist. When we suffer some traumatic events, we push it down and we don't see anybody and we don't talk to anybody about it, and we let it bottle up and build stress and make us unhappy. That's just not normal, you know? And so I always try to make it seem that, like, if we're having physical pain, we see a doctor. If we're having spiritual pain, even we go see a priest, a rabbi, some sort of community religious leader, something like that. But if we have emotional pain, what do? We don't do anything about it? No, that's crazy. Go see somebody. So the moral of the story is, if you see somebody that's asking you these questions, figure out where they're at. Are they open or are they not? Then after that happens, then decide how are you going to proceed from there. So my biggest thing, always think about it. Wait till your feelings come down first before deciding to move forward. In the moment, we may feel like we want to react, but again, we're not thinking anymore. We're reacting. So take the time, take a deep breath, and then decide where you want to go from there. Couple chats came in. Rob C, thanks for coming. I fell asleep. Hope everyone's doing well. That's okay, Rob. Just glad to have you here. Jeremy says, that's true. It's a new hobby for me that I discovered while dealing with chronic PTSD. It's an amazing focus. It's an amazing focus hobby, and I've met amazing community around it locally. Hey, I'm glad you found your local community. And that's another thing that I talked about in one of my previous episodes, is that this hobby connects us to a community larger than we may even recognize. It connects us to people that we know that enjoy the same certain things. And so we already have a connection with them that makes us, head or not, nice to see you on your live stream. Catch you later, bro. Artie, thank you so much. Appreciate you for stopping in. And hey, when I make another announcement for my next giveaway, I will let you know. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me. Going back to what Jeremy was saying, dealing with chronic PTSD. Yeah, I'm really glad that this hobby has helped you. And I'm sure you can probably articulate in many different ways, that more than I can, how it has helped you and what sort of ways it's helped you. But from my understanding and what I've done in my research, you know, I can only present the professional side of certain things in a certain way, but it isn't until you actually experience it that you can give me the feedback of, hey, you know what, this is legitimate. Hey, and I'm really glad that a lot of the people that have commented on my videos, a lot of the ones that have said that they found my channel because they were looking and they found that it makes them feel really good when they're done building. I'm really happy I can validate that experience for them, because one of the things we can also use when it comes back to this chat is we can tell people like what sort of benefits we derive from it. So if we're able to understand it, we're able to vocalize it, can help us answer questions like that. So there you guys have it. That is today's live podcast episode. How do we talk to somebody who is maybe not as understanding when it comes to our hobby? Maybe they're not as open yet. So we wait until they are open. We try to figure out when their language changes from very attacking or very negatively open to more neutral or maybe more positive. Like, hey, this thing really makes you happy. What's so cool about it? Can you tell me more? Or, hey, dude, this is so cool. What do you benefit from this? Like, how is this different from maybe your other hobbies? Or maybe if you play video games, like, hey, I noticed you're building model kits more than you're playing video games. You know, what prompted that change? And you can say, hey, well, I started to do this because I like this more, or I started to do this because I like that more. And so the conversation changes from having to defend your stance to sharing something about yourself with somebody that seems genuinely willing to listen. And when that change happens, the conversation can be so much more productive. All right. So there you guys have it. That is today's podcast episode. Now, for the thing that everybody is here for, I'm going to go ahead and go through the giveaway prizes. So I gave away one of the $50 gift cards. Let's go ahead and jump back to our snack giveaway. And so I have the window here. I'm going to switch it over to this. What I'm also going to do is change the overlay. Hold on one sec. And it is the window capture. And I'm going to change the window source to Chrome. So here we go. We have now the Chrome side of it. So again, same list, but some of the original people that donated didn't want to enter the Gundam Kit giveaway. So this is just for the snack pack. So everybody's been entered here. I'll give it a quick couple of shuffles here and then spin it off. Bradley Cargill, congratulations. You have won our prize number 3 for our snack pack. So that is the 3 Hawaiian Suns, the 1 Hawaiian Host, and the 1 Hawaiian and the 1 toffee set. So let me write that down. Bradley Cargill next. All right. Coming back here, Cobra, what did he say? Cobra said, I dealt personally with a lot of issues, including depression, and talking to a therapist made a world of difference. So this all hits close to home. Never be afraid to seek out help. Yeah, thank you, dude. I'm really glad you were able to talk to somebody about sort of the things that you're going through. Again, always highly recommend, if you think you want to talk to me about these certain things, go find somebody like an actual professional near you, because they'll be able to get more personal information about you. They'll be able to connect with you more efficiently than I'm able to, because as much as I want to be able to connect with you through this camera, there's only so much I can really do before I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of different cues, such as body language and things like that. So, when it comes to talking to a therapist, I think maybe we'll go talk about that in a little bit. What's the thing that are hanging up people from seeing a therapist? One of the biggest things I think is this idea that we're going to go see a person that is a professional and that they have their life together, especially when it comes to therapy. It's just like, the answer really is no. Therapists aren't perfect. We're human beings just like you are. The difference between a therapist and a regular person is that we've studied and we've taken the time to understand how to communicate a lot of the thoughts and feelings that we've experienced, and to understand the science that has affected these sorts of things, and the science that teaches us about how we feel and how we do certain things. Now, does that mean that one therapist can work with everybody? No. Just like how doctors specialize into different fields, such as oncology or radiology or dermatology, therapists can begin to specialize into certain things. So one of my areas I specialized is I went into school counseling. I wanted to be a school counselor for a little while, so I worked with kids. I understand child development a little bit more than maybe somebody who's looking into marriage and family therapy. And so we specialize into different areas and we learn different things as we go on. But the idea is that, when you go to see a therapist, unlike a doctor who's given to you, if you find a therapist, see if you guys click. Not everybody's going to be great for everybody. I know that for me, one of my biggest things is I may not quite understand a lot of different cultures people come from. They might not understand a lot of the backgrounds people come from. And so maybe somebody who understands the culture better, for example, Kaimi's my wife, she's very much more connected with the Native Hawaiian community than I am. She would be a much better fit to go work with people in that community versus me. But at the same time, if it's a dude that likes to build model kits and he's Native Hawaiian, they might want to come see me versus her. And that's not a jab at her. That's not a slight on her at all. It's just knowing who's going to vibe with you better, who's going to address you better, who can you connect with on a personal level makes it a better fit for a therapist one way or another. So if you go to see a therapist and it doesn't feel like it's right, that's not because therapy isn't for you. It's not because this therapist is a bad person. This is just a bad fit. And that's just normal. We can learn to make the fit better by taking the chance, stepping out of our comfort zone, and then getting to know them and maybe getting to open up a little bit and see how they respond. Because some of the times when it comes to therapy, we may feel like we're guarding ourselves because we're not quite ready yet. But then now we feel like, oh, this isn't a good fit because they didn't open me up right away. And it's like, well, no, you were guarded. It's hard to kind of really help you when you're not giving them all the things that they need to do to help you. So take some time, figure out who do you feel comfortable with, find out who do you feel like you really want to open up to, who do you feel like is really understanding of you, find that good fit, and that is who you want to see for your therapy, because it's somebody that you feel comfortable going back to 10, 20, 30, 40 times when you decide to go see therapists. Now, I hope it doesn't take 40 times to get you, taken care of or to address a lot of the feelings. But if there is a lot of underlying issues, maybe it does take that long. But you want to find somebody that you're going to feel comfortable with talking to over a long period of time, because you want to be sure and you want to trust that they're taking care of you and they understand you across your growth from day 1 to day 40, or from day 1 to year 1. You want them to know, you want to know that they're understanding you every step of the way. Jeremy says, I think too, that hit home for me were pride and how does this person understand my trauma, still active duty for 15 years, taking the first step and just opening up is big. Yeah. And a lot of the times too is I have a lot of friends that are in the military, and a lot of it is there's a lot of joking about it, and especially just in culture in general, there's a lot of joking about seeing mental help. But realistically, people do need the help, and transitioning from a very high stress state such as being deployed back to stateside, which is not as high stress. It can be, but for a lot of the people, it's not as high stress, where you're waking up and you need to go on patrol, you need to go out and do certain things, and finding somebody that's going to understand that dynamic change, that really huge change, can be really hard. And so finding that and finding someone who can understand that better, right, is going to be someone that's going to fit better. Because as you can tell from me, I don't know that very well. But if you find somebody who maybe has some time in the Army or military, or even the same branch as you, if they're Marines or if they're Air Force, whatever it may be, if you can find somebody that you feel like that understands you, go to them, talk to them, engage with them. And it may not be, maybe even it doesn't have to be somebody from the military. Maybe somebody from civilian life just connects with you on a different level that makes you feel comfortable. Find somebody that makes you feel comfortable. That's the most important part. Let's see. Next, the vibe is very important. It may take a couple tries before you meet with that person, before you're able to connect with them. Yeah. And sometimes maybe you may feel like, hey, I want to make this work. I don't know if I want to go find another person, but I'm not quite there yet. Maybe take a couple extra tries. And it may just be that this person just hasn't quite figured out how to work with you just yet. Because just as you're learning how to speak with the therapist is learning how to work with you. They're understanding the words that you like to use, the words that you're saying and what they mean to you. It's something that comes over time. It's not something they're going to know right away. It takes some time to develop those sorts of bonds. Even like when you think about relationships with people, somebody may have an inside joke with some of their other friends, but as you start to hang out with them more, you guys start to develop your own inside jokes. And that's something that happens in therapy. As you start to talk to somebody, you can be like, hey, you remember that time I was talking about? Yeah, I remember that. That was really funny, right? Or, hey, I remember that time. Yeah, what about it? How does that relate to this? And so you can start to pull from your past experiences to make this session more meaningful. And so always find somebody that you're comfortable with. And if you feel like you want to take the try and go for another session or two, I encourage it. But if you feel after a while it's just not gonna come to a head, it's okay. And it's okay. And good therapists would know that like the end result is to help you to get better. And if they can't accept that, then already we can see that their end goal or their own personal mind isn't about helping you, it's about their own benefits. So if you say to your therapist like, hey, this isn't a good fit, and they're just like, well, why not? Or they get defensive about it, you can see that the main motivation behind maybe meeting with you isn't as honest. But if they're like, hey, yeah, let's get you linked up with somebody that's really going to help you, you can see the difference between somebody that's there for you versus somebody that's there for themselves. Next. Yes, it's okay to change therapists until you find someone who best fits for you. Yes, thank you. That is my wife saying that. Mejan Park, from personal experience, I can say therapy has helped me tremendously. It's okay to ask for help sometimes. Once I sought help, it validated what I was feeling, was valid, and there was a way forward. Yeah. And sometimes when we're dealing with a lot of our feelings, we may not have people in our lives that we can talk to about a lot of these things, or maybe we don't feel like the people in our lives are somebody that are willing to listen to those things. And so sometimes we need that outside voice to be able to talk to them. And so we may be even talking to people that are in our lives that maybe are listening to us, but we may not quite feel like their statements are genuine. For example, sometimes when I'm talking to my wife, I'll tell her like, you got this, baby, you're really good at this, I'm really proud of you, keep going, you got it. And she could just be like, well, you're just my husband, you're just supporting me, you know? And that's perfectly fine. I am supportive of her. But if you hear that from somebody that's doesn't really know anything about your life, it's this new person that's being introduced, and they're just like, yeah, that sounds like you got it together, you know, you're organized, you know, you're on time, people are like asking you questions, you're answering them back, you know, it sounds like you have everything together, then yeah, you know, hearing that from an outside source can be really beneficial because it can help validate a lot of things that you're feeling. And I think that's one of the big strong things about psychology when it comes to therapy, is that the reason we don't talk to people that we know, or the reason we recommend going to see somebody, a neutral third party, is that that neutral person has no vested, they have no investment in your life aside from just helping you to get better. And so if they see something, they're going to call it out. And that's kind of one of the things that you learn early on in psychology and in therapy, is that, you know, sometimes the hard truth is the truth that needs to come out. And that's why sometimes I say, like, you got to look at your model kits and be like realistic with yourself. Is this a realistic backlog, or is this something that's causing you some safety concerns? You know, are you being realistic about your spending, or are you starting to eat a pack of ramen a day just so you can save money up to buy model kits? You know, be realistic be realistic, you know, and understand that this person here, if they're asking the hard questions, it's not because they're trying to challenge you or trick you. They're trying to get you to think, trying to get you to move outside of your comfort zone and take the thoughts or look at some things in a light that maybe you don't quite want to see. And that's the good thing about therapy, is that they're there to help you through those thoughts, those feelings, and those problems. So with that said, guys, if you're looking for a therapist or you're thinking about seeing one, highly recommend it. All right, that is a lot. That was a mouthful. So let's go ahead and give away some more stuff. I'm going to go on to the next thing I want to do is I want to give away the Saintism t-shirt. I did see Saintism in here earlier. I want to say thank you to him. So I'm going to jump back over to, yeah. All right, and I'm going to change this back over to chat source is going to, oh, no, not chat source. Where'd it go? Window cap. I'm going to change this back over to Firefox, because this is the one that I'm using this one for the giveaway. So I'm going to shuffle it a couple times and give it a spin. Alex Rojas, you have won the Saintism t-shirt. Congratulations. So if you watch a lot of my videos, you can see me wearing some pretty awesome Gundam t-shirts. Right now I'm wearing one from MidwestHobbyandCraft.com. But if you see me wearing the Hyakushiki t-shirt, the Universal Century Club t-shirt, if you see me wear the Gray Infinite Justice t-shirt, those are all designs that I got from Saintism. I even have hoodies of those shirts too, because I really like the designs that much. So I highly recommend, if you haven't seen his Etsy shop, go ahead and check it out. He's got some really cool merch, and those shirts are comfortable. Yeah. So winner, Alex Rojas. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it back to, see if I can bring it back to, wait. I got it. There we go, bringing it back to me. All right. Jeremy Hill, depression spending is a real thing too. Sometimes that brand new feel is trying to fill a void. Yeah. So something interesting about depression spending, or even just spending habits in general, is that the spending of buying a new kit hits our reward pathway. When we do something that makes us happy, it makes us feel good. So that reward pathway is activated. And so sometimes we feel like we're doing a good thing, but when that reward pathway ends and our rational thoughts come back, we start to realize, oh, maybe that wasn't the best purchase. And so sometimes when we get into this habit of depression spending, or maybe we do anxiety spending, even when we're just like, oh, I have so much strong feelings right now, I need to change those feelings into something positive. That's a realistic feeling that happens. And so sometimes we may get into these impulse overrides where it's just like, I need to spend some money to make myself feel better, because we're hijacking a reward pathway to tell ourselves we're doing something that we like and that makes us feel good. But then after a while, that reward pathway fades, our rational thoughts come back, and we're just like, wasn't a good idea. It happens. It's normal. That's just things that happen in our body. And so psychology, that's what I love about it so much, is we understand the physiological part of it in our brains. We see what happens in our brain when we do these sorts of things. And then how does that translate to our behavior? Well, we liked how that made us feel when we bought a kit, so we want to do it again. And so we'll do it again when we're feeling stressed out. We'll do it again when we're feeling down. We'll spend more money to make us feel better. And then we're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But at the moment, it made you feel good. And so one of the things that I really want to stress when it comes to talking about psychology here is knowing when we are in our emotional state versus our rational state. If we're in our emotions, we're not ready to think rationally yet. So we need to bring ourselves back to rationality before we can talk about and address a lot of these feelings. That hits really hard for me. I was in a very controlling relationship a few years ago. She forbade me from buying kids since I had enough already. After the breakup, it felt so empty. So that's another thing too, is that when we start to talk about model kits and we have other people in our lives, there's going to be a give and take when you talk to these people. And part of it is finding somebody that is going to encourage you in the things that you enjoy, but not enable you in a way that is unhealthy. And that's going to take some time. And so, you know, I'm very fortunate enough that my wife is very encouraging for me, but she's not enabling. She knows, like, you know, if I'm buying a model kit, she knows I'm doing it for my channel. Now, if it starts to spill out into the bedroom, or it starts to spill out of this back bedroom that I'm working in and into, you know, the hallway where the doggies can get to, might not be might not be good for my spending habits. But if I'm able to pay for my bills, if I'm able to continue to make kit, then I'm able to make content out of it. She's been supportive of it. So having those conversations can be difficult, and knowing the balance between encouraging and enabling can be really hard. And so it's not something that's going to come right away. It's not going to be something that's going to come overnight. It's going to be a trial, and it's going to be a trial and error thing. But knowing that, you know, someone is limiting something of yours that you truly enjoy, that's part of you, that makes you who you are, is very warranted to try to look at that sort of relationship and be like, is this something I want to keep or not, you know? And so I'm sorry that it didn't quite work out, but that just leads you into a better place where you can potentially find somebody that's going to be like, dude, go get that model kit. That's so awesome. Or, hey, I saw this model kit, you're looking for it, and I bought it for you on the way home. You know, that's awesome. If somebody can encourage you, but not enable you, that's the kind of healthy relationship you need to have with your significant other and your hobby, and finding the balance between both. Let's see, it sounds a lot like the addiction cycle. So the difference between the addiction cycle and what happens with our model kit behaviors is that the addiction has a lingering effect on our brain. So when we talk about substance issues, those are things that actually physiologically change our brains. It changes the chemical balance in our brains. And when that sort of balance goes away, we start to receive a rush of negative feelings, because now our brains are trying to return to equilibrium, and sometimes it comes like a rebound. Like, for example, when you look at a red screen for so long and you stare up at a white wall, it looks a little green. That's sort of that negative active image. It's that rebound. And so when we have drugs in our system, we feel a certain way, but when the drugs leave, we kind of hit a little bit of a rebound period and we can feel negative. On top of that, the physiological responses that we have when we take the drugs are different from how we feel when we want to have another model kit. It's understanding the difference between, you know, when we want to buy a model kit, it's our thinking that we want to do something that's going to make us happy, and it's going to be something that's going to make us feel like it's something we want to do again. And so knowing the difference between the actual physiological and the poor impulse control is what I talked about in some of my other episodes, when I talked about, can this hobby be addicting? And so while I don't think it can be a actual addiction or a dependent or abuse situation like they describe in the DSM, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual that we use for psychology, I do feel like there's potential for impulse control issues where we start to do things because it makes us feel good. And those sorts of patterns of behavior are not addicting, but they're problematic. Resentment mixed with the depression leads to me going down a rabbit hole of buying and buying and buying. Yeah. And that's realistic, is that we try to chase the idea of, we chase that high, we chase that feeling. And so we kind of go into a cycle, and then we start to continue down that cycle. And so eventually, after a while, we realize that as much as we buy the kits, it's not making us happy, or as much as we buy the kits, it's not fixing the underlying issue. It's a band-aid over a cut, you know? And when the cut is bleeding out, you know, the band-aid is only going to do so much, right? We need to fix the underlying issue in order to heal, right? We need to make sure we close that wound before we can start to heal it up, right? So would it be more like video game compulsion? Video game compulsion is interesting, because when you look at video games now, they're designed in ways that are much more hijacking the reward process than model kits can be, right? when we go to buy a model kit, you know, we feel that impulse right then and there. But when we play video games, they're designed in a way now that hook us in. They're designed in a way to hijack that reward pathway. It's, you know, that feeling of, you know, especially when you look at things like gacha games, when you look at things that are like loot boxes and things like that, they are simulating, you know, like that near miss fallacy where even though we've didn't quite win, it feels like a win. Like we were so close. Oh, we almost had it. I just need to spend $5 more. And so the patterning of behaviors is very similar to what I would say is, I wouldn't say necessarily addiction, but definitely more of a pattern of just hijacking the hijacking the reward pathway in our brains that make us do things that we wouldn't normally do. Have there been findings that video games actually affect brain chemistry? In ways, yes. So like I was just talking about with the near miss fallacy, where we feel like we feel like we've won even though we just missed. That idea is being hijacked by our video games, and that's because they're being designed by psychologists nowadays to be more addicting, to be more aggressive and keeping people on longer. They're designed in ways to reward you to stay on, which is why we have things now like daily login bonuses. They encourage you to come back for the day. That's why they have daily tasks for you to do where they give you rewards for coming back. They're engaging. They're designed in ways to force you to come back. They're designed in ways that are going to entice you to stay on longer. And so when it comes to video games, it's really hard to know where that line is because it's being designed by the people that study it and know how to hijack it or know how to manipulate it in ways that can be beneficial for the company, ways that are going to get the company the most money, ways that are going to get the company the most number of returning players each month. So when it comes to video games, there's a lot more behind it because there's a lot of actual psychology being built into these things to make it more addicting, more, I wouldn't say addicting, but more reward pathway hijacking versus model kits, you know? Expert the subject. Gee, thanks. Apex caught an Overwatch. Yeah. So even like in a lot of the modern video games, you know, when you look at a lot of these things here, I think, you know, when you look at Call of Duty, not so much. Overwatch a little bit back when they had the loot box system, but not so much anymore. Apex Legends does still have loot boxes, which I think is, you know, kind of problematic because again, it's that near miss fallacy. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get the thing that I'm rolling for. I want to buy this skin, but I have to roll for it. And so when the thing pops up and it turns and you see all the lights and the flashing, it's just like didn't get it. But all of those lights, all of those sounds, all of those things, you know, they jazz you up, they get you excited, and then you don't get the thing that you're looking for. So it's just like, where was it? I almost had it. And again, these are designed by psychologists to hijack those feelings to make you want to do that behavior again. So really interesting things to think about. So you got something, yay, but it's not what you wanted. Just a little bit more, I might actually get what I want. What's another $5? Yep, that's exactly what it is. It's just like, I was so close, but it's only $5 more. I'll get it next time. I'll get it next time. I'll get it next time, you know? So it's just, they continue to do these sorts of things and it can kind of really eat in on us. And so, you know, I still recommend people play video games. Video games can be fun. They're a great way to stay social too. Like for me, I've been getting back into World of Warcraft a lot lately because I found out one of my friends started to play it. And actually some of the people that I've been playing with have donated to this as well. And their names are entered into the snack pack. So if you see funky names like Chair or Calixa, those are some of the friends that I play World of Warcraft with. But, you know, when we play video games, you know, we can still have social, we can still have a healthy relationship with them, but we need to kind of examine our relationship with them from the outside. And again, it's not always easy when you're looking at your own feelings. It's hard to look in the mirror and know exactly what's going on, which is why we need somebody else on the outside to really kind of be the voice of reason, because again, their vested interest is helping us to get better. And it's not about us and how we feel. It's about what do we think is going to help this person the most. Let's see. Retail therapy in general is a very slippery slope. Struggle with a lot. Every payday I feel like I have to get something just because I want to get it, or feel really depressed, like, or I get really depressed feeling like I'm working. Yeah. And, you know, I think a lot of it has to do with the idea that when we get the money, you know, it's like we got the reward. And so we feel like, oh, I got the reward, and we want to, on top of the reward, we want to reward ourselves again, you know, because the last thing we want to think about is, yay, I get to pay my bills now. That's not something that we want to do, but it's something that we know we have to do. And so part of it is a coping mechanism. Maybe we try to block the idea of those bills out by saying, oh, I could buy this instead, which can be dangerous, you know, but these are some sort of things that our brains have developed to help us cope with the world, help us to continue to live, you know, when things are getting bad. Like if money is tight, you know, sometimes we have to just block things out in order to be able to focus to get certain things done, or our brains just naturally want to block things out because that's going to help us to get through the day. And that sort of understanding those sorts of things can come with sitting down and talking with somebody or getting through a lot of those feelings. And so knowing where we are in that sort of way can be really beneficial to us, and knowing and just being aware of those things can help us to really keep an eye on our relationship with those things. Let's see. I recommend Baldur's Gate 3 for being a great B and not trying to hack your brain for money. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of the great things about Baldur's Gate 3. I want to pick that up, but I just don't have the money for it right now. Again, just kind of picking and choosing which one do I want to invest in and which one's going to be where I want to spend my time and money. Yes. I haven't played since Warlords of Draenor. I don't miss the game, but I miss times to play with friends, if that makes sense. Yeah, totally. And so that's kind of the reason why I got back into it, was I got to connect with friends again. And so something that I want to that I reiterated in that podcast when I talked about it was, I was saying that, like, you know, when we some things that are there to help us, we want to make sure we take care of our physical health. So something we do that's physical, emotional health, or our mental health, that's going to be something that's going to make us feel better, which I think model kits are really good for, and something that's going to make us a little bit more social. And that's something that I feel like I really learned when I started to get back into playing World of Warcraft, is that having a sort of social net's really helpful, and connecting with other people is actually really good. And it doesn't have to be in a way that you think, it doesn't have to be in a way that's physical, face to face. Like even just being socially on the internet can be very beneficial, because you're connecting to people that share the likes of the same interests as you, and it's a validation on you that, hey, something that I like is liked by other people. If I'm not the only person that likes this, that must mean there are people like me, and if there are people like me, I am normal, and if I am normal, I am human. So connecting with people on that level is always huge, which is why I encourage people to do these sorts of things. Go play video games, go try a new sport, go do certain things, get connected, find people that you enjoy, talk to people that you want to make friends with, so that you can learn and you can feel normal. Excuse me. All right, got a monster care. Jeremy Hill, thank you so much for joining me. Jeremy Ford, wife keeps me on track so I don't overspend. Hey, sometimes we got to lean on the people that are in our lives, right? Cobra, for me, gaming is about spending time with my friends. I can't really hang out with them because they're busy giving it. Wait. For me, gaming is about spending time with my friends. Many I can't really hang out with all the time because they're busy. It give away, stay connected. Yeah, so I think just, again, like we can connect. Maybe we can't connect with them. Maybe they move far away, or maybe just like kind of like we can't quite always hang out at 8 o'clock at night when we're done at the end of the day. But hey, hop on, let's go play a game together, you know? And so it's like 8 o'clock on a Wednesday, not the best time to go out and to go do something, but hey, we can jump on a game. We can be jamming out, doing something fun in like 10 minutes versus having to drive and find each other and then go do something, you know? So games are a good way to stay social. All right, a lot of chatting. Let's give away. I still have a lot of things to get rid of, not get rid of, but to give away. I have the Pale Rider, the God Gundam, the HG Arrow, the FM Arrow, the Midwest Hobby and Craft gift card, two $50 Gundam Place gift cards, and the airbrush setup. I am going to go through, we're going to go ahead and give away the other two Gundam Place gift cards. So I'm going to take it back over here to this screen right now. I'm going to go ahead and spin off the prizes. So let's just close that, give it a couple shuffles, and give it a spin. Good luck, everybody. Andrew K again. So Andrew K has won two $50 gift cards to Gundam Place. All right, let's go ahead and spin off another one. Just gonna spin it right away. Bradley Cargyle. Bradley has won one of our other snacks so far. He has won snack pack number 3, and now he has won our third $50 gift card. Awesome. So Bradley, I'll be sending those things to you. Again, if you're winners here, don't forget to email me with the email that you used to sign up for the that you used to submit your PayPal donation. Just send me the email saying, hey, just here to collect my prize. We'll get those prizes out to you straight away. I'll be mailing these things directly from me. I'll be sending them over to you. So keep an eye out, make sure that you stay on top of these things. If you want to email me and you decide you want to turn it down, I'll go ahead and do another spin, and I'll let you guys know in the next live stream that I do that I'll be go ahead and giving away these prizes. Now, I am going to go ahead and move on to the kit. Let's do a kit. I am going to start off with the HG aerial. Let's go ahead and give the HG aerial away. So I'm going to close this. Let's give it a shuffle, shuffle, and send it. Charlene Ramirez Rios, congratulations. I'm gonna add you down here. All right, got the name written down. Congratulations, Charlene. Now let's actually, let's go ahead and jump back over to our snack pack. Let's go ahead and give away prize pack number 2. So this one's going to be the pancake mix, 1 Lion coffee, 1 pack of Halpia mix, 1 Honolulu Cookie Company bag, my favorite, 3 Hawaiian Sun pancakes, 1 Hawaiian Host chocolates, and 1 toffee. Let's go ahead and get it. So I'm going to change this over. Let's go back to this. I'm going to change this over to the Chrome page. Oh, let's change that over to Chrome. I'm going to remove that because he has won our 3rd prize place. And let's go ahead and spin it. Andrew K has won a snack pack. What is going on? Okay, I am going to add that here to number 2. And I'm going to pull him from the snack pack list. So the reason I haven't pulled anybody from the Gundam kit giveaway is because I am okay with people winning multiple of those. When we have 1 winner for each of the snack packs, I'm going to remove them because I want to make sure we give other chances for people to win. So don't worry. Oops, clicked on the wrong button down there. Don't worry, we still have 1 more snack pack, and we still have plenty of prizes to give away, such as the Pale Rider, the God Gundam, the HG Aerial, the FM Aerial, the Pale Rider, the God Gundam, the FM Aerial, the $25 Midwest Hobbycraft gift card, and the airbrush setup. There's still plenty of chances for you guys to win, so please don't worry. Again, thank you to Andrew for all that he's donated. Appreciate each and every one of you who has donated so far. I am really glad that we're able to raise all the money for the people on Maui. Really glad that we're able to help them. And it's just, it's just something that I'm glad that I can use my platform to do. So really happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and move on to switch it back over. Let me change this. Go back over to the kit side here. I'm going to close this. I'm going to shuffle. We're going to move on to the Pale Rider. And we'll see who our next winner is. UT Gumba. Hey, Rick Moore has won our Pale Rider. If you are not familiar, Rick Moore was one of the other original members of the Midwest Hobby and Craft team. He is one of the builders that he's actually the main builder that started the Gunpla charity collaboration. So if you guys remember a little while back, I worked on Instagram. I worked on a RX-78 master grade Gundam that I painted in a gray color, and I painted up the little figure with it. That was actually for his charity build that he puts together that at the time we donated to a hospital local to one of our other fellow builders, Gunpla builder Dan. So big shout out, congratulations to UT Gunpla, and big thank you to him for donating as well. So thank you so much, Rick. I'll be getting the Pale Rider out to you. Now, I still have some other kits I want to give away. Let's jump down to do you guys want to do the Midwest Hobby and Craft gift card, or you guys want to do the God Gundam next? What do you guys think? While you guys do that, I'm going to switch it back over to this, and oh, I'm going to switch it back over to Google Chrome, and we're going to do the final snack prize giveaway. So while you guys decide on which one to give away next, we'll do these snack prizes. So did I change it over to Chrome? Yes, I did. Change it over to Chrome. Give it a couple shuffles here. And give it a spin. This is for snack prize number 1. This is the pancake mix, the 2x Lion Coffee, the Halpia mix, a Honolulu Cookie Company, 3 Hawaiian Sun pancake mix, 2 Hawaiian Host chocolates, 1 Hawaiian Host toffee. My goodness, Charlene Ramirez Rios has won our snack pack number 1. All right, so next we'll do you guys said the gift card. We'll go ahead and do the gift card. This one has finished, so we have given away all these snack packs. We're going to go back over to our other one, which is going to be our kits giveaway here. So to bring it back up to that, I'm going to close this. I'm going to shuffle this up. We are going to go with the Midwest Hobby and Craft gift card. Big thank you to Hayden from Midwest Hobby and Craft for donating the gift card to give away for you guys. Jeffrey Tyson, congratulations, Jeffrey Tyson, on winning the gift card. Congratulations, Jeffrey Tyson. All right. So now we are down to the God Gundam, the Full Mechanics Aerial, and the Airbrush setup. Let's go ahead and do a giveaway for those. I'm going to close that. Give it another spin. We're going to go with the God Gundam next. Christian Carlo, and thank you so much, Christian. You have won the God Gundam. So O and E. Perfect. All right, we're down to the Full Mechanics Aerial and the Airbrush setup. So down to this beautiful kit right here. This one's mine. It's complete. You don't win this one. You win the one donated by Otaku Builder. So big thank you to Otaku Builder for donating the Full Mechanics Aerial, the God Gundam, the high grade aerial rebuilds. Congratulations to all the winners who got those, but big thank you to him as well for putting in all of these prizes for me to give away. It's another way that he's donated to help the cause. It's just, it wasn't just that he donated for the snack pack, but he also gave kits away for us to give to you guys. So I'm really thankful to him. So I'm happy to finally be giving away the Full Mechanics Aerial. It's an absolutely fun build, so whoever wins it, congratulations. It's going to be an absolute blast. I'm going to close it, give it a shuffle, and give it a spin. What is going on? We have a lot of repeat winners here, but that's okay. Again, the winners are the number of entries are based on the amount that was donated. So people have a higher chance for winning because they've donated more. That's just a natural thing, selection of things. I'm surprised. Again, we've had so many repeat winners, but I'm again really happy and really thankful we've had so many people donate. So big thank you to Christian. I'll go ahead and write that right down here. All right, now on to the final prize for today, the Airbrush get setup and giveaway. So again, this is going to be a 2D no-name compressor with a tank. So this is going to be basically, if my Airbrush ever fails, it's going to be the one that I'm going to replace it with, the 2D no-name compressor. If you guys haven't seen it, highly recommend checking that one out. Next is going to be a braided hose. I like it compared to the regular hose because it doesn't tangle up on you. The hose itself is covered in a braided fabric, so then that way it's also protecting it from any sort of, maybe if it catches on anything, you don't accidentally rip or damage the hose. And then also the final airbrush itself, so then that way if everything you need to get set up, if you want to set up in a garage and spray out with a fan, you can do that. It's everything you need. If you want to invest in an airbrush station or a paint station, you can set something up inside your house, but this is going to be the basics that you'll need to really get started. Anything else such as like paints and everything, we can talk about that as we do the sessions, which are also part of the giveaway, which include 3 1-hour sessions where we're going to sit down, we're going to talk about, we'll look at what paints that you feel like you want to get into. We could talk about what other things you're going to need to get set up. We can talk about what kind of kit we want to build. We're going to do a shadow build together, put the kit together. We'll talk about paints. We'll paint the kit up together. Well, if you want to do masking and talk about things like that, we can do that too. Anything so that once we finish with our 3 sessions and we finish painting up our kit, we can go ahead and get you on your way to painting more kits in the future. So really excited for this grand prize giveaway. So without further ado, let's go ahead and do the final giveaway. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to start at A to Z so I can show you guys everybody who has donated. So big thank you to everybody who has donated here. Again, every time you $1 is 1 name entry. So as you can see, we have a lot of names here who donated big amounts. So big congratulations to them. Thank you everybody who has donated. Your amount does not mean, like, just because you didn't win, it doesn't mean that you're not valued. I'm really thankful to everybody who did donate. So enough talking from me. Let's go ahead, give it a couple shuffles, and best of luck. Here, the final winner for today is Jeffrey Tyson. Congratulations, Jeffrey Tyson. Jeffrey Tyson has won the Midwest Hobby and Craft gift card, as well as now the airbrush setup. So Jeffrey Tyson has won the airbrush setup, which comes with the tank and compressor, the hose, the airbrush, 3 painting sessions, and a shadow kit that we can build together, we can discuss with. So big thank you to everybody who has donated. Really, people of Maui suffered so much, proud as well as donated worth cause. Yes, thank you again so much to everybody who has donated. Thank you all guys for showing up for my first official live stream here. I know it's not the most professional one, but again, I'm not perfect. I'm still learning the things as we go. It's a process. It is a learning thing for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this live session. I'm hoping to do more live podcast episodes that you guys can come in, sit down, ask questions as we go through the podcast topic. You guys can share your experiences. You can ask questions about the things that I'm talking about. You can learn more. We can grow together, and we can make this, this podcast, this live podcast, these live streams a much more fun session. I will be getting some more setup so I can do maybe top down, or maybe we can build as we do these podcasts, or maybe I can do live demonstrations for certain things when we start to move on. But again, thank you everybody so much for joining me today. Congratulations to all the winners. And again, thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you all for not only donating, but just showing up and just being supportive of me. If you haven't donated, but you spread the word, thank you for doing that too. I appreciate each and every one of you. With that said, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you had some fun and enjoyed this podcast. And remember, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Go do what you love. And